Hey, how's it going? So today I want to talk about how social media is a breeding ground for 2Ding. And by 2Ding, I mean, well, that's what I call the way we look at something like a stranger that we see for in passing, so really quickly, a very brief period of time, and then make all kinds of judgments about them without speaking to them or asking them a question or getting interested in what their life is about. And that happens a lot as I see it all the time, looking at this comment sections, for instance, in social media, where I'll comment because I'll have watched something and I'll have a reaction and I want to say something because that is available to me and that's what I want to do. Like, I just want to say my little piece, and I always make the effort to not like directly attack anyone and say something like this person is this, that, or the other thing negative because their opinion is different from mine or they did something that I don't agree with. Like that, those things can be true, that I didn't like something that someone said and I didn't agree with it, but my reaction, I make every effort to not make it about talking about like the person and how they're bad because I don't know them. It is just something that I saw someone say for a few minutes and then I had a thought that I wanted to share. And so I feel like this extends, of course, to the comment section because you'll say your piece, a little few words, and what I've been finding lately, it wasn't this way so much before, like a little bit, but I mean, just the way things are right now, a lot of people are like psychically inflamed, so their reactions are really strong. And then that's always been the case, but it's like everyone is wide open right now and blaring. So yeah, feeling that. So anyway, I was looking at a site on YouTube that is about psychology, and it offers it makes observations. It's not that it offers advice per se, but it quotes like they post quotes there. And so anyway, I was drawn to it because the title was I don't remember exactly, so I'm paraphrasing here, but it was, I don't remember the title. But the thing that I reacted to that they spoke about in it was, they said, or there was a post of text, just static text, that said a woman who doesn't wear makeup is secure, basically. Again, paraphrasing. I couldn't find it to be exact because it got buried in a million of other posts I looked at and I just didn't want to look for it. So I looked at that and I thought, that is such a weird thing for like a psychology place to put up, because right there, people are going to look at it and take offense, like straight up. And they did. Like, how dare you, say that I'm insecure because I wear makeup, was the basic tone that kind of was happening with some women. And then as I read further down the thread, I guess, there were more people getting upset about the wearing and not wearing of the makeup, not necessarily about the comment that the site had put up, which I thought, why would they post that knowing that that's like, it is a source of, or a place where women can be really insecure, because just from what I've learned from other women telling me, they have like skin stuff that they want to cover when they go out. Like, they don't want people to see the imperfections. And talking about it, is a big deal. Like, even for someone to tell me that was a big deal. I remember, like, they were breathing deeply and becoming flushed and upset because it was like a big deal. I get that. And I'm not a psychological anything. Like, I don't have any certification like that, but I got eyes, I got ears. So I thought, so why would they phrase it that way or put it like, come on. So that was, I think, why I started looking at it. And I have a point of view on it. Like, I don't wear it, but my reasons for not wearing it have nothing to do with, like, my appearance. And I know that some people wear it because, a lot of people wear it because it makes them feel good. My personal position is that is not a thing that I need to feel good about myself. And so saying that, and I hope mildly just now, because I don't mean anything by it. Like, it's not a comparison to anyone else. It's certainly not a contest. Like, we got enough going on with ourselves to contend with than to be fighting with each other, us women or makeup wearers, about why we do it. Like, my feeling is, do it if you want to. I mean, if it works for you, do it. It's not for anyone else to make a deal of any kind over, I don't think. But in the comments section, it was getting, like, pretty crazy. Like, a lot of sniping, and it was getting mean. And the thing that finally made me comment was that I saw one person say, well, I know one girl that wears it, and she's, like, really nice, and then I know this other woman that doesn't wear it, and she's mean and a bully. And there was different versions of that down the line, and then there'd be someone who was trying to say what I ended up saying, much to my regret almost. Like, I don't regret saying it. Like, I don't regret what I had to say, but I almost wish I didn't just go ahead and post it, because it just ended up getting taken the wrong way. And so all they said was, I don't think it's the makeup that determines a person's attitude. I think, like, you already started building a foundation for that personality before probably you were wearing the makeup or something like that. But definitely, I said, I don't think it's the makeup that makes the person a bitch. And oh my God, that person lost their mind. They called me all kinds of names and was like talking bad about how I must look. And I'm like, what are you talking about? My picture's right there. You don't even have to move your finger and click. Although if you did, you could watch a bunch of my videos and see that I'm not wearing it, but I'm not, like, making a deal about it. But, you know, they were so intent on just, like, going off on me that they kept missing the obvious. And I didn't even, like, argue, because it just started a whole bunch of other people, like, just attacking me and saying stuff that had nothing to do with wearing makeup, and, like, talking about what my personality was or how I was. It was like, yeah, I wrote like 10 words. That's not enough for you to make all these decisions. So it's like, you look at this flat image, or not look at the image, but just the words of the flat text, which is 2D, and just make all these decisions based on nothing really. And it's the reaction that starts to spiral because of whatever they got going on. They're just feel attacked when someone says that thing that sets them off. So that was one time it happened. And then another time, it was talking about how J.K. Rowling had said something that set off people again about trans people. And I knew that saying this would upset somebody because I had a similar thing happen to me when I was younger, when I got very sick with brain tumors, and I became paralyzed on my left side for a whole year. And again, I was 26, and all of a sudden I was paralyzed, and even the doctors for like over a month did not know what the hell was wrong with me. And when I eventually went into the hospital, it wasn't contagious. I mean, I still have these brain tumors because they couldn't get to them based on where they're located. But that is not a contagious thing. And because of my life back in LA at the time and before that, I got to know a lot of people, like, pretty well. And I'd see them all the time, and they disappeared like dried up dandelion thingies blown off in the wind, like just tumbleweeds, except for two people and my aunt, who, it was like I don't know, she wanted it to be like my fault caused by drugs or something that I did that created my condition, because it so inconvenienced her to have another sick relative to deal with. But that's a whole other ball of wax. But I'm saying it was like such a strange experience to have, and then to have like this grudging person sort of taking care of you, and then to know that you had know all of these people, and there was no internet then, but like people knew, like people talked. And so a couple of my friends, bless their hearts, I love them to death to this day, did come and see me, one a couple of times and one more than that. And so that like really kept me afloat, because it was so hard to have like, that was the beginning of having like a whole life taken away, and just the game board, all the pieces just scattered, and like you're just gonna have to start over again. And I was not ready for that. I was not ready for any of that experience. I was in shock after it happened for like years before I like began to come to myself and be able to process the experience. But it was a very hurtful kind of time, because I was feeling lost, and then I had all these friends, and where were they? Kind of hurt. I guess it still does. But they, I guess, decided that for whatever reasons, even though they didn't know nothing about what was happening with me, that they couldn't come around. And there was a social worker that came and talked to me, and she said that they were feeling their own mortality. And I'm like, okay, I guess I can understand that, like intellectually, but the rest of it, I was just kind of like, oh, God, fuck off. Because they didn't, all they cared about was how they felt. And that's when it kind of really hit me about compassion. Like, I felt it already, but I didn't really understand it very deeply. And that kind of developed into how I feel about it today. So this other clip that I had watched was talking about what J.K. Rowling had said, and then what I said. Oh, okay, back to the hospital thing real quick, because this is why I started saying it. My aunt, who was like taking care of me at the time, because I had to go stay with somebody because I couldn't take care of myself, like before and after I was in the hospital, I was like bummed because my friends were not coming around. And I think I said something like, this is not a person where you can pour out your heart to. I think I just said, I'm bummed because my friends are not coming around. And she said, well, you need to get yourself some new friends. And does that sound harsh? Because it felt harsh. It felt harsh at the time. But she was right. It took me like many years to get past like the harshness, because all of that grudgingly being there, and the harshness is all about some other stuff. But she was right. Like, if they're really your friends and they really do care about you, they would show up. And so the two that did, that's why I just love them to death for showing up there for me that day. So back to the comment section about what J.K. Rowling said about the trans people. I didn't even know. I just know, I don't know what she ever said, because I don't listen to her. And like I said in the piece, it wasn't because of this, but I just didn't read a Harry Potter book or watch any of the movies. It just, I tried to read a book, and I was like, I can't do this. So it had nothing to do with the things that she said, like, 20 years later. But I did also say, like, but I do like what she had written under a pseudonym that got dramatized, which is a series called Cormoran. Cormoran, not cormorant, like the bird, cormoran. So, or maybe that's a bird too, I don't know. But anyway, and then the next thing I said was, but if that is bothering you, then you should probably like filter. I mean, I would filter it out. And so the person that responded first kind of lost their mind, because they're like, well, a trans person doesn't have the luxury of just filtering it out. And my response was, well, you kind of do, because, and I didn't put it this way because I just tried to keep the words simple, like to a minimum. And I was like, well, are you saying you can't look away from stuff that hurts you? Because they said, oh, it's everywhere and I can't escape it and you don't understand. And I was like, well, again, they didn't look at the photo icon of me. I was like, well, trans are not the only ones that are hunted and hated. Meaning, yeah, I'm black. Like, ever since I was born, it's a thing. Like, we just have been getting killed left and right, and it seems like unjustified in a lot of cases, and we get blamed for being criminals because maybe whoever the perceiver is, experienced a black person doing bad things, and not like the rest of us get painted with the same brush. And we also get jumped and beat up and raped and just killed, and horrible things done to our remains. And that gives me compassion for the trans person, or the gay person, or the Latino person, or the Asian person, or the disabled person, or the whatever the thing that someone can find wrong with another person. And that's like my whole deal about it. And so that was not acceptable. I didn't say all of that. All I said was, you're not the only ones hunted and hated. And then another person in the thread, losing their mind, said, she just dismissed what they said. And I didn't. But I answered back a couple of times, just trying to say, no, I didn't say that. You don't know what I'm thinking. Stop trying to say it. I am saying what I think. It's right there. You're taking it a certain way, because of you're conflating it with something you're thinking of that I didn't say. And then I was like, I have already said enough. I don't need to be defending myself. I'm not even trying. I am on the 6 of any of those people that I mentioned, those other people that has to experience strangers in public yelling things at you or treating you certain ways when they've never laid eyes on you before. They don't know what you're about. What they're doing is 2D'ing you and looking at you and making a judgment based on what they got going on inside. And I'm having compassion for that too, because I think I understand what's going on. I mean, sure, correct me if I'm wrong, please. I'm not out to offend anyone at all. I am on your side more than you would think, and that is to the people that would take offense at what I'm saying. But you can be as compassionate as you want, and sometimes people are just not willing to accept it. And it was very nice both times in those comment sections and others where I've said something and I haven't expanded on what I meant as much, because it's like asteroids. You got people coming from all directions trying to like throw some kind of crap at you, but usually there's always someone that says, "Oh, I get it. I know what you mean." I'm thinking of one time where I had said something, I don't even remember what it was about, but another person commented after and I replied to them, and my reply clicked what I meant to this other person that had objected before, and they came back and they said, "Oh, now I understand what you mean." And that's a great connection to make. Like, I love when that happens, because then you have some understanding. That's where it begins, but it's not the be all end all. It's very superficial. It's very 2D. It's not this, it's that. That's the difference. So I've written some WordPress posts recently, and that is my blog, and it's where I'm taking spiritual advice I get to heart about going inside and sharing my experience. So I'm basically pulling out all of my wires publicly and untangling them in front of everybody. Not that they have to love it, or I would appreciate compassion, because it's kind of scary and embarrassing, and it makes me breathless. It makes my heart race. But I always think about what I'm going to do a lot before I do it. And then I'll watch the playback and I'll read over what I post, like in text. I'll edit, and like, I know what I'm putting out. I'm very cognizant of what I am presenting. And there are reactions, and they're not always great, but I can't worry about that, because I feel guided to do this. And I recently I talk about water a lot, but in a post on WordPress that I published recently, I talked about boat rocking and how things can upset you, and things outside of you can like set you adrift, or make for turbulent seas. And that's what I've been feeling, and it's like a hyper nausea. It's like it happens and it's over before you even know it, or something. I don't know, it's weird. And it's in my stomach, and it's in my head, and it's in my solar plexus, and it's just I guess because the veil is getting so thin, everything, I'm just feeling all kinds of stuff. And then also I'll do something like write a post, and I'll drop a big old rock in my own water and disturb my own pond. And then I'll have to think about that and meditate on that. Like, was that the right thing to do? Is that okay? And it's like, well, dang, you know what? It doesn't really matter what I do, and if it's okay or not, as long as I'm not like a big jerk and an a-hole and calling people names. Just know my intentions are good. And I am just as flawed and fallible a human as anyone else. But this is my blog, or this is not my blog, actually. But this is what, for me, going inside and working through my garbage and clearing it out to make way for new and better thought forms and things like that. And it's an effort to make a healthier self for myself, because I don't have that access to therapy, and somebody's got to do it. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say for now. But as far as the feeling compassion, like I said, it's not always what I have to offer is not always acceptable, and I don't have any control over that because people are not going to accept your help if it's not even, I don't know. Okay, they don't, if people don't want to accept your help, then they're not gonna. They're not willing, then that's that, I guess. So, yeah. More later on other stuff. Thank you and good night. Oh, I missed. What the hell? I'm so bad at this ending stuff. Bye.